Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our friends over at Streetside Brewery. That's right, your home for all FC Cincinnati matches, home and away. Although at the home games, I assume you're going to the home games. So away games, come to Streetside. They are a fantastic pub partner of the club, and they are where I go for away games. They have delicious beers on tap, and I cannot emphasize that enough. They do a wild variety of beers. They try unique things out. They are not afraid of trying new things. They have some great stuff on there. There's always something for everybody. You just want a plain old boring beer? Guess what? They've got a boring beer as well. Okay. They've got you covered. They also have delicious food from the food truck. It is a good time. Located over in the Columbia Tusculum neighborhood of Cincinnati. The space is awesome. It is a great mixture of like local watering hole and modern gastro pub brewery thing. It is really cool. And I got to say, especially in these warm summer months, that patio is so nice. Hanging out there late evenings, it's a good spot. Go check out our friends over at Streetside. You will not be disappointed. Catch an away game while you're there. They are the only ones that FC Cincinnati is playing in June. That is away game. So you might as well check them out. And again, a huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode. And on this episode, well, believe it or not, folks, we got some FC Cincinnati news to talk about. That is right. There are two, count them, two signings rumored with FC Cincinnati, one a little more concrete than the other, but the other one is a player's name you've definitely heard of, okay? So exciting times for FC Cincinnati, imagining the possibilities. Also, the Club World Cup games here in Cincinnati have been fun. We talk a little bit about that as well. And then in part two, we are answering Patreon questions, including some breaking news about away days. That's right, folks. A new location has been identified. All right. So put that all together. You got yourselves a lovely little postcast. And joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by two gentlemen, but only one was at the same match I was at earlier this evening, joined by the Chief, joined by Grayson. Grayson, do we regret giving up on the weather delay in Salzburg, Pachuca?
I don't.
Okay. I don't either.
I have to get up early. And then I've also been burnt before.
Yes.
By weather delays at TQL Stadium. And, it looks like this one is going to be okay. Yeah. But
specifically, you've been burnt by weather delays at TQL Stadium watching non-MLS matches.
Yeah, right. Watching a Mexican club.
Watching a Mexican club, yeah.
It was
the worst.
Yeah.
So the other one was the absolute worst timed weather issue it could possibly have been.
And it was so weird because if you remember, it was mostly done raining. It would not stop lightninging.
Lightninging. Yeah. And then every time they see one, it extends the delay by another set amount of time, I think, right?
25 minutes, something like that.
Maybe we'll get it back together and get to try to replay what we were trying to do that night. But
I mean, how it played out was kind of perfect, though. If you were going to get stuck anywhere for like 4 hours at TQL Stadium, you could do a lot worse than Tunnel Club.
That's exactly. It's not exactly getting trapped behind the Bailey as the sweltering humidity collapses in on the tight confines of TQL Stadium, which I've been part of that as well. That's not a pleasant experience waiting out a weather delay there.
Yeah, no.
I took one look at the forecast for this game because tickets were pretty cheap, and I had some other stuff going on this evening. I was like, I could try to race back downtown for this. Look at the weather. Nope.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go cut the lawn.
Especially when, like, I was looking at it like, hopefully we get the first half in, and that's essentially how it played out. So, yeah, not too bad. I will say though, and we'll talk more about this on the World's Gam. Really good game. I really enjoyed the 55 minutes that I got to see. So
yeah, still enjoying it.
Grayson has it up live. Let us know if anything changes. It's 1-1 at time of recording. So
watching on DAZN, which you would definitely be able to figure out from the letters DAZN.
I had a really funny experience on Twitter today because I saw people talking about the pronunciation of the channel and people like yelling at them like, well, how else would you say it? And it's like DAZN.
Right.
It's not a word.
Right. What do you mean?
Do you also say Espen? And like,
how else would you say it?
And like tunt and tubes and hobo.
I watch all the
or when
Mexican
you see
League
letters in all caps that don't spell a word, do you do what I do and just say the letters?
Right. You don't just add 4 vowels in there to make it make sense.
DAZN.
I appreciate that there was at least one learned gentleman on the Discord that noted that Dasein, as a reference to Heidegger, might have been the correct interpretation of all this.
Nice.
That's why we have the Discord.
Right. Yeah, that's actually exactly
for philosophy nerds to get together and make sports jokes.
For that kind of thing. We are the only place where you get stuff like that, and also complaints about Evander.
I mean, you can complain about Evander anywhere just by sitting in TQL Stadium for a little bit. We don't exactly have a monopoly on that.
There were some folks in front of me at the game today who I overheard talking about the FC and complaining a bit about Evander and how he, you could forget he's out there a lot of the time. And it was like an older guy and an older woman, and they were with like a younger guy in his 20s. And I'm like, that older guy may be a postcast listener.
I just like to think that this is a true evolution of Cincinnati as a soccer town, when people are showing up to an international match between Pachuca and Salzburg and still finding the time to complain about how Evander's play is.
Dude was wearing an orange FC Cincinnati jersey, and the younger guy, who I'm going to assume son,
fair,
I don't know, was wearing a Bayern Munich jersey.
Ooh,
which
the one nice part about the
loved the variety of jerseys at this game.
Yes.
I saw a lot of Cruz Azul for some reason tonight.
There was a lot of Cruz Azul tonight.
I don't know why, but Viva la Máquina, right?
At the Bayern match, it was just about every jersey you could imagine. Like, it was everybody's excuse to pull out whatever non-FC Cincinnati kit they have in the closet and just throw that on. There was Chelsea, Arsenal, PSG, Man United. I saw a couple AC Milan kits as well. Like, there were people that were rocking Barcelona. I saw a couple Cruz Azul jerseys. There were obviously some people in town from Pachuca early, but it was just like, open the closet and wear your Sunday finest. It doesn't matter if the team is playing. I love that.
Love it.
Yeah. What it reminds me of is when you see the NFL play over in Europe. And it doesn't matter who's playing. Everybody's just wearing the one NFL jersey they own. Right. So it could be like, Jacksonville versus Miami. And the entire stadium is filled with like, Patrick Mahomes jerseys for no reason.
It's all the expats finally have an excuse to get to see a game.
And I know we talk about it over in the World's Gam in more detail, but I love this tournament already. I love having it here. Yeah. When I left work today, I left a little early because I wanted to get home and change and have a little bit of time to finish out my work day. So I left work at like 4, and there was a massive group of Pachuca fans walking downtown just like snapping pictures and like looking around at the buildings and stuff. And I just think it's wonderful to have all these to have like these fans of other teams. And Sunday I noticed a lot of like charter vans around the OTR area that I assume were all like Bayern fans from different areas, like coming in for the game. I think it's fantastic. The pitch I saw is setting up their Dortmund world.
The BVB embassy, I believe, is what they painted on the outside.
Yeah, I think this is great. Like this is the type of stuff that it's like part of the promise of having a first division team in Cincinnati.
Yes.
You know, is like making people from around the world come here.
Yeah. Especially when you compare it to, you think back on those days of trying to get into MLS, and Tampa Bay and Louisville seem to be having, fine existences in the championship, but nothing will compare to what TQL Stadium and MLS has been able to bring soccer fans in this city and this city generally. This has been incredible for like a city too that likes to hype up its German roots. Bayern, or I should say Munich, Bayern being the state. Munich is one of our like 8 sister cities in the world, but it's nice to like get to have them here for a real thing. And Dortmund gets a couple of matches here. Like, this is nice and well done. And I appreciate whoever, I assume this is Birding's doing, whoever petitioned FIFA to give us a couple of German clubs. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that at least one of the teams took their bus and went to the Reds game last night.
Nice.
And I think that's nice. It's so cool.
Yeah, this is like you said, this is the reason why you do something like this. It opens your city up to the world. And for a city that has a reputation for being as insular as Cincinnati is, and as part of, quote unquote, flyover country, this is cool. It's cool to be on the world stage. It's cool to have, people in from overseas visiting the city. It's the only thing, and again, listen to the World's Gam if you want us to hear more of our thoughts on this, but the only disappointment to all this is that for as good as the games have been, it's a shame that FIFA didn't do a better job of getting the details in advance right for this tournament so that they could properly market it, they could properly hype it, they could get tickets sold. And there's rumors that this is going to be awarded to the United States again as sort of a, hey, you put up with us as we're figuring all this out. You can have it again in 4 years, when I think this tournament will be massive in 4 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, there have been, again, to tie this back into FC Cincinnati, I think this idea gets teased a little bit, and rightfully so. But I also think there's a degree of truth to this, which is exposing really good players to FC Cincinnati's facilities, to the stadium, the atmosphere, the city, the fan base, the ownership group, the club presidents, and I assume Chris Albright's floating around here at some of these games.
There's a dude in the Bailey that they just showed who's a Pachuca fan. Yeah. He's wearing a USMNT jersey.
Perfect.
Love it.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the point.
It doesn't get better than that,
Miles Robinson had experience playing in Cincinnati, playing at particularly Mercy Health Training Center with the U.S. men's national team before signing here as a free agent. Don't think that didn't play a role. I had to think about my triple negative there in getting him to Cincinnati, that he got to live that and recognize that it went really well. And we saw it again in the Athletic article about Thomas Muller. He seemed to really like his time here. Now, obviously, that will be ultimately a financial decision, but I think Cincinnati has done everything it could from a cultural perspective.
He said he loved the stadium. He said the pitch was great, which that's news to me, but glad he liked it.
So like now, anytime someone complains about the turf at TQL Stadium, you're like, well, Thomas Muller said it was good.
Right.
Thomas Muller.
You think you know more ball than Thomas Muller? I mean, go ahead, man.
Did we pay him to say that?
I don't know. That's a good,
nothing would make me happier if this was part of a contract he has signed in some way.
This is
fair.
This is a good transition, because after that came out, and I know Laurel and Carter both were out on the record that they tried to ask Thomas Muller the question.
Right.
Why didn't you indict Trump sooner?
Yep.
Oh, wrong Mueller. Sorry.
And they didn't get to, because apparently he was just kind of sticking with the German media.
Right.
But you know who else talked to German media? Our buddy.
There were so many ways that question could have gone. That were
our buddy.
You know who else controlled the German media?
Our buddy Jefford Birding.
yes. Spoke to Build.
Yeah, and he said that they're still interested in signing Thomas Muller. They're still trying to make it happen. And that it's not over until he officially signs somewhere else.
Correct.
You know, I thought I read that and I thought mature, like, good for him. Like, you know, this is like the stupidest praise you can give someone that's like a front office member or an owner.
Yeah.
But like, it was the rare quote of these types of circumstances that didn't come off as needy.
I'm so glad you said
Like,
that. I had the
just, like,
exact same reaction.
That it was like, yeah, no, we made what we think is a competitive offer. We understand he's got, other options and he's going to make the best decision that's available for him. We're still interested. Like, it didn't come off as begging Thomas via the media. Please, it didn't have a pick me attitude to it. And I was so refreshed by that, because you don't get that all the time with the way MLS teams talk about big stars like Mueller would be.
Well, because the sort of like alternate timeline version of that is, we are absolutely committed to bringing in a superstar like Thomas Muller, and he is exactly what this club needs to get it to the next level. And somebody of his experience and caliber, we think, can elevate FC Cincinnati to where we want to be. That's the kind of pick me, putting yourself down in the face of the all great European that did not happen here, which I am very appreciative of.
It was good, build it here, I guess, for Birding.
Ooh.
But I couldn't decide whether or not this story was a past tense that's just being mistranslated, or we're still actively pursuing.
Here's my take on it. It's if Birding is asked directly the question of whether we're interested in signing Thomas Muller, he has to say yes, because by all reporting, we hold Muller's discovery rights. We have discovery priority, whatever people want to say about it.
Yes.
So if we want to get a bunch of GAM from LAFC when they sign him, we need to demonstrate that we had like the intent and capability of getting the job done.
Right.
And so if Birding says like, well, that's in the past, we're not interested anymore, we've moved on,
then we don't get the GAM.
Then we get like $50,000 in GAM.
It's like trademark law, right?
Yeah,
Where
you gotta defend it. Yeah,
you have to defend it, whether or not you really care about that particular use in general. But yeah, damn, that's a good point. I didn't think about that, but I also think like we were interested in him, and we'll talk about another name that has popped up, but nothing has come up recently that would suggest we have a different target for that role, that spot. I assume that is a standing offer until something else happens.
Yeah. So Kevin, in chief, you probably have a different perspective or additional perspective on it, but I think that our thoughts on it were that, we made Muller what we thought was like a good offer that fit with our lineup at the time. And it was competitive in a lot of ways. It included some sweeteners that, if he wasn't going to be like necessarily a DP here,
right,
he was going to be made whole on some back end maybe, or there was the potential.
Yeah, NIL, I think we termed it.
Yeah, NIL, to get some NIL.
Just to be clear, still technically against the rules, but let's not think about it too much.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Okay.
If Zlatan was allowed to be a TAM player, so is Mueller. Okay, that's all I'll say.
I'll say that like if it truly is the fact that like if MLS rules were getting in the way of Thomas Mueller coming into the league, then it was MLS rules have to give way, not Thomas Mueller has to give way.
Yes.
Is how I think about it. But so like let's just say like that wasn't good enough and someone had to like kind of make him a true DP to get the deal done, and that wasn't what we were interested in at the time. Given what we know about the team's need, essentially need to run a two striker system, it's possible that maybe there's a little bit more interest in like going ahead and using a DP spot for that second striker position, if that's what it takes to get the right guy in the team. And I'm not saying like Thomas Mueller is the right guy, although I do think that Thomas Mueller would be the right guy for anybody in MLS. But it's possible the landscape has changed, I guess.
That was my question because like I think we had all sort of settled on the idea that we were interested in Mueller. I'm going to always pronounce that wrong. Mueller?
Right? I don't. Who cares?
Who gives a hell?
I feel like if you're not saying
I'll care about German pronunciation when they say they're sorry.
Fair. I agree completely.
Very confident that they've said sorry multiple times.
They could do it one more time. They could do it one more time.
They haven't said sorry to me.
Right. So I think where we landed on this was that like we liked the idea of him coming to FC Cincinnati, but not as a designated player. So like to Grayson's point, watching this team for the last 18 matches, is that still your take? Would you still say that you don't like Mueller as a DP or Mueller as a DP?
I mean, assuming I don't have to make a big sacrifice, and by big sacrifice, I mean Luca Orishano,
right?
And I can get him as a DP, I will sacrifice a number of hypothetical U22s that are never coming at this point for him. Absolutely.
I don't think we're going to have more than 3 U22s anyway, and we'll
ever in the history of the club
this year. Like I don't think there's any chance. Maybe that's overstating it, but I don't think there's a very high chance that we're going to sign 4 U22s.
Right.
So if we don't need like the extra $1 million in GAM the rest of the year, and we don't need to like, I don't know, buy out Miles Robinson for some reason to bring in a third DP. I have no qualms about bringing in a third DP. I'm not like married to the 2 DP 4 U22 model. Yeah. It is a question of like, I think it's a question of GAM, period.
Yeah.
Because there's no chance that they want to bring in 4 U22s this year.
No, and I don't think they would anyway, because I think it would hamstring them for future roster builds. I don't think I think you want to preserve the opportunity to go to a 3 DP system. So, Kevin, how about this?
Okay.
What if I was to offer you this scenario?
Okay.
That we are going to bring in a very high level U22 wingback.
Okay.
Maybe
lose from Venezuela.
Maybe from Venezuela. You lose Luca Orishano in this upcoming window.
Okay.
But you add Mueller as a DP. Because that is the trade. The trade almost has to be Orishano for a third DP. I don't know if there's a way to
lose. I think the question is, you're going to lose Orishano anyway.
Right. That's another thing, too.
I think you make the deal. Man.
Based on the sales numbers we saw, there's going to be a lot of very angry people with FC Cincinnati jerseys if that's the case.
Yeah, actually. Orishano cracks the top 25. Not cracks, was top 15 in jersey sales in MLS. Kevin Denke sneaking into the top 25 as well. Yeah, I think you make the deal. If you give me Evander, Muller, Denke, the rest of our striker room, obviously by that I mean Dotto, you give me a U22 that you believe as the front office can offer something similar to Luca Orishano. Yeah, I think I make that deal, right?
Do you envision in this scenario? I don't. Does Muller then become your second striker?
Yeah,
I think you play. Oh, this sucks. The sword, baby. It's
Muller plays
Muller
second,
and
Evander
with Denke above, and you let one of the two float forward as the situation arises.
I think Muller is second striker, and the thing is, like,
that makes sense.
We've already had Denke, like the last game, like Denke was coming back a lot to make things happen, right? And like, to be honest, like formation, I don't think like formation is fake.
I like that.
It's profile. So like, I guess you could write down on a notepad that Muller is playing next to Evander.
Right.
But Muller is like a true second striker and not like another 10.
So in this case, because I think there are some similar skills, not the same degree, but similar skills. We're looking at an upgraded Dotto to be the second striker. Does that fit with what we think this team wants to do?
I think if Muller, Evander, and Denke can't like figure it out,
you fire Pat Noonan. Let's be honest, you fire Pat Noonan.
You fire, yeah, like that's a huge problem because like it feels like, I don't know, like if like Muller is like about as smart of an attacker,
yes,
in the use of space,
yes,
as has existed in world football.
I was going to say it may be the greatest at all time. Yes, right? at that skill. Yes.
So yeah, like I don't know. I think you bring him in.
Yeah.
And like,
or you even drop Evander further back.
Denke and Evander speak English.
Here like, I don't know about this. This is a lot of pressure.
There is a certain I know his time at Real Madrid and the best, but there is a sort of Carlo Ancelotti I think attitude you could take about this, which is like the three of them should be able to figure it out without a coach. Like they are so talented that give them like 2 or 3 games, they should be able to piece something together.
So to put a bow on this conversation, I think that all of us were at a similar position as well on this issue, and that's that once the news came out that the team had sort of realized Muller wanted a DP deal, and Noonan is talking about it in the past tense. A lot of people are talking about it in the past tense. I dropped the chances of us ending up with Muller to 0. If you had to put a percentage on it now, is it still 0, or are you inching it up a little bit?
10.
I was going to say 10%.
That's not insignificant.
It's not. The big thing here is, one, I'm sure a lot of his focus is on the Club World Cup. Bayern in particular seem to be caring a lot about this, maybe because of Muller. They want to give him a trophy on the way out. They are a team that has won the Club World Cup in the past. So I do think that they care about it more than, say, like Inter Milan cares about it, for example, to pull just another random European team. But the thing that I keep coming back to is we haven't heard him linked to anybody. Now, I'm sure there is a
LAFC.
Is that the other
Loosely,
team?
like less
Okay.
I think with less authority than he was like linked to us, but he has been loosely linked to LAFC.
Okay.
So, but the other thing, since I'm talking, I guess,
Yeah.
is Taylor Twellman tweeted about it.
Yeah.
And that also makes me think the chance is non-zero. Just because of the relationships Taylor Twellman has.
Yeah. Yeah, there's maybe too much smoke right now for me to say zero. Yeah, and until he gets a DP deal somewhere else, or like with the Kevin De Bruyne stuff, it was like the second the Napoli deal looked real, it was like, all right, well, Chicago doesn't have a chance, unless they're going to give him ownership of the team. Like there isn't a version of that where they outbid and then like have a more compelling offer. So yeah, like if Milan comes in for Mueller, then maybe this chance drops to zero. But if it's us versus LAFC, I don't know. I like our chances. He has the familiarity now.
You know what I was about to say? You know what's interesting about this is that this is a weirdly not once in a lifetime, but like this is a weird opportunity where FC Cincinnati got a chance to sort of. They'd obviously met his people, talked to his people.
Right.
They might have flown over and talked to him since the season was still going on over in the Bundesliga when all these rumors started to circulate to the front and sort of become, people became aware of this. But like they got a visit from him. He had to come here by virtue of the Club World Cup schedule, but they had an opportunity to talk to Thomas Mueller in their building.
Right.
In front of their facilities as part of what he was doing here, where I don't know that they get even a visit from him otherwise, that it's just a rejection out of hand. And who knows, maybe it's one of those things where he comes to Cincinnati, he looks at the facilities, he looks at the, city. He's here obviously for at least a day or two.
Right.
And maybe the idea of living in Ohio suddenly doesn't become such a foreign concept or a foreign thought. I don't know. Stranger things have happened.
No, that's exactly right. Like you've taken away that like, I can't envision myself being there. Ohio, never heard of it. Now all of a sudden, yeah. Oh, wait, no, that stadium actually is really nice. And I really liked the city from what we got to see. It would be like if you were house shopping and you were down between like 3 houses. And then in one of the houses, you weirdly got the opportunity for like a free week-long vacation in that house. I feel like you're more likely to pick that house just because you now have like an attachment to it.
It's like college recruiting. It's like you look at everything and you're like, God, I don't want to live in Iowa for 4 years playing football. But then you get to the facility and you see, this is where all the money went. And then they hook you up with some co-eds for your tour around campus. And all of a sudden it's like, you know what? Maybe I'm okay playing in an offense that scores 70 points a year.
Right. I can really see myself thriving here. Right. Yeah. So who knows? I mean,
we have a bigger rumor to chase, though.
We do. Just
smaller in some ways.
Well,
yeah.
In stature.
And age.
And profile.
Almost half of Mueller's age.
Salary. Career statistics.
We gotta hope salary. Although a much larger transfer fee, because Mueller would be free.
On a free. Yeah.
We have gotten word that Ender Echenike, is that how we're saying this?
That's how we're saying it.
Ender Echenike, until we find out it's actually pronounced Orishano. He is a Venezuelan, currently playing for Caracas FC. That is in the first division of Venezuela.
Yep. It's like the man one.
That is a big team over there. He has been getting professional minutes since he was 15 years old. He is a regular starter for them. Even this season has put in some 200 minutes in the Copa Sudamerica alone. Okay, this is really great. That is what do we say? This is the Europa League equivalent in South America. So really good high level competition in South America. Grayson, I know you came across something that put him as like the 4th highest rated player in the entire Venezuelan first division so far this season.
Yeah, in the Apertura.
In their half season here.
So it really seems like he's come on in this recent half season. Kevin, it was 600 minutes in the Sudamericana, by the way.
I was looking at a different stat. What is this middle column? I don't know what this middle column. Oh, is that goals per 90 or
it's goals? Probably goals per like minutes per goal or something.
Oh, okay.
I think his minutes per goal in the Apertura was like 200.
That's it. That is it. Okay, so yeah, 600 minutes in the Europa League.
Yeah,
1,500 minutes so far this season.
Yeah,
in all competitions.
He's like really come on in the Apertura. He's been like a regular starter for a big first division team in Venezuela. He's been linked to moves to Portugal and Belgium.
Yeah.
And Europe writ large, but I'm pretty sure the only teams that were named linked to him were in Belgium and Portugal. 3 goals and 3 assists in 7 games in the current edition of the Copa Sudamericana.
Nice.
He's a right winger. He seems, based on the limited tape that I've seen, seems to be a fast, dribbly boy.
Yes.
Has played a lot on the right wing and a lot on the left wing, which would be inverted.
Yeah, love that.
So
yeah, in the league, 12 appearances, 4 goals, 2 assists. That is amazing.
It's at 21 years old.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to find a lot of stats, but yes, I think we already said it, but again, like per at least one Venezuelan league stat tracker, he was the 4th rated player in the entire Apertura. As of a couple days ago.
Yeah. I'll take it.
So yeah, I mean, he seems to be certainly like a guy. He's been, again, like linked to a lot of moves out. If you looked at it, if you can read about him. He's a Venezuela youth international. He's mentioned in various articles as one of Venezuela's up and coming, top players.
Yeah.
So assuming that this link, which was reported by CL Merlot, is a done deal, and
pretty good source
from what I'm hearing, that's true.
Sweet.
I think it's exactly the kind of signing we wanted. Basically like a Luka profile.
Yeah.
On the other side.
I mean, that's 2 things with that. One, you also left out Wasserman player. Okay.
He's a Wasserman player.
That might be the smoking gun.
Yeah, that is the smoking gun.
2, yes, he is very similar in profile here, again, to Luca Orishano and to a lesser extent, Alvaro Barreal, winger that you can easily see being converted to wing back in our system, depending on where Orishano ends up, finishing out the year, is either a replacement for him or an Orishano on the other side, playing on the right side versus Orishano on the left, or even vice versa, depending on how weird we want to get with things. So
yeah, I'm kind of hoping it's not viewed as a potential Orishano replacement. I'm kind of hoping that this is like, we're getting what we have on the left, we're potentially getting that on the right. And then if Orishano goes out, I would like to see another addition on the left. But
so would I, but we keep saying that there's, this is all made up with salary money, but it doesn't, if you believe the numbers that are out there, they just don't have a lot of room right now unless players are leaving.
We know they have room for U22.
We know they have room for 1.
I think they have room. We know they have room for 1.
For 1. We know they have room for 1.
I think they have room for 2. But if Orishano goes out, they have his salary space.
If Orishano goes out, though, then they're bringing a DP in.
I hope so. Yeah.
I don't think you're sending Orishano out unless it's to free space for a designated player. Like, that's That doesn't make a lot of sense to me otherwise.
The awkward piece with shipping Orishano out now is you can't convert anything to GAM this year.
Well, if you set it as a loan with the buy that triggers on January 1st, like it doesn't have to be a buy option. It can be a buy requirement that it's a loan for the remainder of the calendar year with a purchase that is automatically triggered by his like deplaning in the country where he's going to play at.
You can even make it a purchase now where the payment is made next year.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that is the piece of this that just goes so underreported that for the rest of the world, it doesn't matter. But in MLS, that genuinely seems to matter, is like the payment schedule. Because if people don't know, like when Real Madrid pays $80 million for a player, they're not cutting a check for euros for that player. They're setting up a payment schedule that may be 5 years into the future of making regular payments on that player. MLS does the same thing, except for with MLS's weird salary cap rules, like that is when I guess you're able to then convert that money to GAM, or then that is when the cash is available to the ownership group to start doing their, like for like replacements and things like that.
Like Garth Lagerwey has given interviews about how they have intentionally structured deals where their incoming players' transfer fees are due in later years. And he's talked about how hard that is to like get done, but they've intentionally structured deals where like, okay, this guy's transfer fee is due this year, so we can like buy it all, or we can make him a DP that year, or buy it all down with GAM that year, and then he's TAM moving forward.
Yeah. All these other teams in other leagues must think that we're trying to scam them. It's like,
they
might. I would assume that.
Yeah. It's like, wait, why can't you just do it the way everybody else is? No. You don't understand. I need to only make payments for you on alternating Tuesdays of months with more than 5 consonants.
This is somebody at the checkout line that pulls out like 4 credit cards and like, all right, can you put $30 on this one and then $8 on this one?
Right. These are all stolen cards.
Yeah, maybe you should not buy this, whatever this is you're trying to buy.
There's something going on here. So this move overall to bring in a winger that's U22 makes perfect sense. Like, this is an area of need. Even if Orishano is staying on this team and they're not making any substantive changes to the quote unquote best 11, it never hurts to have someone who you can call in later in matches that has some pace, that frees you to, if you want to move Orishano up to more of a traditional winger and have him playing more advanced. And here's another opportunity to have someone pacey in behind him as well, for throwing it all at the wall when you need a goal late in a match.
Yep.
This is the type of profile of player that Grayson, you've been clamoring for years, of players who off the bench can change a match. And we are in pretty short supply of those right now. And especially we're in pretty short supply of players where they can change a match with just pace at the end of a game. So
yeah,
I think it's a great move. It sort of fits with the shopping list that I've heard around this team, that they were looking for a U22 winger, and then they were also looking for a U22 striker, but someone who is more of a target striker, someone taller, like thinking like trying to find another type of Kevin Kelsey type player, because striker room is we thought they had a ton of strikers, but really
they have a ton of strikers. They're all bad.
Well, like when you look at the room right now, it's Denke, Santos, Kai Kamara, and that's it.
Yuya Kubo, Corey Baird.
These aren't strikers though.
Dono. They at one point they were.
Right, but I'm saying that just if you asked Pat Noonan and Chris Albrecht, say who on this roster are strikers, I think the only 3 names you would get are Kevin Denke, Sergio Santos, and Kai Kamara. I think that they view Corey Baird as, at this point, more of a
utility tools guy.
Kubo is the same way.
Yeah,
they can start him, but as a striker, but they don't view him as a striker. And they don't have anyone that fits that player profile of just a big body you can put up top. Like, who's the tallest player?
Kamara's a big body you can put up top.
Kamara is that guy.
But he's not tall. Like,
is
Kamara
he not tall?
Like he's like 6'1", right?
That is soccer tall.
That's like as tall as Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that what they're looking for in the U22 is someone that's like Matt Miazga height, like, 6'3", 6'4", someone that's like an actual. Like,
I just got a jump scare. I looked over at my other screen and Tori Penso was walking around. So yeah, I hear you. I've heard that shopping list as well. For me, I think the two top priority shopping, if I was picking the shopping list, my priorities would be a player like Echenike, a dribbly boy, speedy right winger, and a like Pavel Buka backup / competition.
I don't hate that either.
Like that would be my other. That would be where I would be looking before striker.
Yeah,
because like I love Pavel, but when you look at what subs this team makes, it would be great to have like fresh Pavel later in the game.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know how many assets they have to move here, but I think I'd ideally want that to come from within the league. Like just a journeyman
Federico
MLS.
Redondo, come on down.
I mean, Brian Anunga, but that can play a little more offense and a little less defense.
You think Dax would come out of retirement?
I bet we could talk him out of it. Absolutely. Didn't he play for Des Moines Menace? We
got to get. Yeah, he didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, somebody has to have Dax's number.
He did the interview with Noonan. Yeah. Somebody somewhere's got him.
Get him on the podcast.
Let's get him on the pod and pitch him in person.
That's a really funny idea. Dax, here's out. 1, we hate your guts. He's always a Red Bull guy.
Hated. Well, because he wasn't just a Red Bull guy. He was a Red Bull Nashville Atlanta guy.
Yeah, this might be too much. Like even Kai didn't have Red Bull Nashville on his resume.
I would love Dax, but
I mean,
I understand he's retired. I want to respect the man's wishes, unless he comes on the podcast, in which case we're going to ask him if he will please come play for FC Cincinnati.
But who is this is so funny, Desk. Who's the modern Dax McCarty? He's like 1 year out from retiring. But that's who I want. I want another journeyman, but like a two-way midfielder. I don't want a Brian Anunga again. We already have him.
I wanted Ben Bender, but then Philly got him.
Oh, damn. That. Yeah.
Who makes sense in the league?
That would be available.
Surely Bruce has got some spare parts.
Yeah, who plays for San Jose?
That's exactly what I'm looking up. Let me get you a name here. Quickly look at the squad.
I was going to say that like the best team to look at would probably be Montreal because they'll sell anything that's not nailed down. Like, so you might get a free scout this coming Wednesday for that.
I know he just joined them, but give me Ian Harkes, please.
Yeah, Ian Harkes would be he actually thought about him. He would be a nice one.
Who is Chance Cal? Is that Cade Cal's brother?
Yes, it is. Is it Chase?
This Chance.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was Chase, but yes, Cade Cal has a brother.
He is 16 years old, has not made an appearance. Yep. Probably not him. Or Mark Anthony K.
He's not. Mark Anthony K is not gonna play with the ball. He's not gonna give us what we want from that spot. Yeah. I mean, probably Ian Harkes, I guess. Sebastian Berhalter, frankly, would be really good in our team.
Can we acquire
Michael Bradley? We need to get Michael Bradley, Sebastian Berhalter, and Ian Harkes, and just start collecting the room of sons of famous coaches.
Well, we already have Kenny Arena in the team.
We already got Kenny Arena. Gio Reyna obviously needs to be joining us.
His dad was coach of the Venezuela national team.
And doesn't Owen Wolf, doesn't his son play in MLS?
So Josh Wolf is the dad. Owen Wolf does play in MLS, yes.
Is the son of Josh Wolf, yes. So we'll get him
Owen
as well.
Owen and Tyler. Josh Wolf has 2.
We got to get both of them.
Yeah.
And I believe they recently got their Filipino passports. And so they've become eligible for the Filipino national team.
Or they're just passport bros, one or the other.
Or they're just just passport bros.
Oh no, that is an accusation.
The women in America, man, they're just not the same.
Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about this.
There's a former FCC player who plays for the Philippines. Who am I missing? Is it the guy who went to Charleston and then to Spain?
There is a former FC Cincinnati player who plays for the Philippines. Is it Markanich?
Yeah.
Yeah, Markanich.
Yeah, that's it.
His brother had an oopsie in that Minnesota versus San Diego match this weekend.
Yeah, that's okay. Who's counting?
No, I didn't realize that was
we also had I don't know, this isn't the same. It kind of feels the same though. We had Dallas J.
You guys are
Guam.
You guys are way off, by the way, on who the player was.
Oh.
So I've looked it up. Do you remember?
Oh, I know who it was. It was that right back.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Zico Bailey?
Zico Bailey. Zico Bailey. Plays at New Mexico United. He represents the Philippines at an international level.
Well, who does Nick Markanich play for?
FOTMOB has him still as the United States. I don't know if he's had any youth appearances anywhere.
This is great radio, by the way. Hey, let's just look up.
You want to hear a couple of dudes Google?
So Markanich is eligible for the Philippines.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
And there have been talks about him being called up. There's articles about them being called up for the Philippines.
Has he been called up and not appeared?
Maybe he hasn't appeared yet. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's just get more Filipino guys.
That is so funny that Zico Bailey's already there, though.
Hey, here's some Zico Bailey fun facts for you. Just because, let's remember Zico Bailey.
He scored a goal. Kevin called him the right back of the future.
Yeah, that's accurate. Probably. That sounds like something Kevin would say.
Yeah, I did that to him and Halsey, so don't listen to me about outside backs.
Zico Bailey came to FC Cincinnati in exchange for a 4th-round super draft pick in the 2020. Bailey made his MLS debut with FC Cincinnati on October 7th, 2020, replacing, and this is going to shock you, an injured Greg Garza in the 30th
minute. I remember a lot of fans got on Bailey's case, but I thought he was great.
1 goal total in his entire time with FC Cincinnati 1 or FC Cincinnati 2.
All right, so we traded LA for our 4th-round pick. So who did LA pick? They passed.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's so on brand.
Unless there was a later pick. No, LA also passed later in the round, which would make sense. It would be kind of silly to get back in. But
want to answer some Patreon questions?
Let's do that.
Let's do it. Let's do that in the next part. All right, we are back, and it is time to pay the bills. Okay, no, not the bills. Pay the debts. We
pay the troll toll.
Yeah, we got to pay the troll toll if we want to continue on with this podcast. With that, people get to pay us. Have to? No. People have chosen to. get to pay us $2 a month, and in exchange, they get a question answered on the podcast. That means, yes, if you financially support us via the Patreon, you too get to ask a question. There's a post made every month, and you just leave a comment on there, and we read them, which is great. And Chief,
we call our Patreon friends Postmates.
do we?
We do now, apparently.
We do now.
Because we use the money and just order takeout to our houses.
Because we bought the trademark.
Oof, we are massively in debt. Please support us. But no, Chief, I think you're going to like this one in particular. Ryan Vossler asks, if a 2025 away days doesn't happen, how about a 2025 home day? Well, Ryan, I've got some good news for you, buddy.
Yeah. Away Days is back.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Where are we going, Chief?
We had to plan around Grayson's inability to go to Portland for some lame thing like a birthday party or something. And
not my birthday party, to be clear, because I'm an adult. I don't have birthday parties.
So we instead have pivoted, and we will be heading out to watch FC Cincinnati take on the vaunted, incredibly named Real Salt Lake in Salt Lake City, Utah.
I think it's in Sandy, Utah.
Sandy, Utah?
Yeah.
Sure.
It will be now, okay?
That game is on the weekend. I think it's on Saturday, the 19th of July. We'll be out in Utah. We're going to be in between now and then. We're going to be figuring out what kind of content we're going to shoot out there. But if you're going to be out at that game, hit us up in the Discord. We might try to figure out a pregame gathering spot ahead of the festivities out there.
I have found a couple of breweries pretty close to the stadium. I'm going to share them with you guys, but I do think that we should plan to have a meetup spot. There do seem to be some decent options. I've been to one of them, which I would happily go back to. I don't know if it's a good meetup spot. Is the thing, but anyway,
I like this plan. So yeah, come on out. Come on out. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if you're in the area.
Yeah. So that's where we will be. If you happen to be in the area, stop on by.
Yeah, if you're
certainly don't go out of your way for it.
Yeah, if you're driving out listening to the postcast and you find yourself in Utah, maybe if it fits in your schedule, otherwise come by and say hi.
Not just like oh God, where am I? Is that a sign for Sandy, Utah?
Right.
Oh my God, I think I've got to swing on by.
How do you feel about the idea of converting our July Patreon to suggestions for things we must do, and then drawing randomly out of a hat to plan our trip when we're out there?
Supportive.
I like that a lot. I like the idea of sort of trip itinerary by lottery. One, always a fan of that. And then two, listener input. Absolutely. I love that. I will say, though, to Ryan's point, a 2025 home day, I think we got to do this. I think we need to sort of create a video guide to how to enjoy an FC Cincinnati home match for like an incoming fan, like the perspective of doing Cincinnati as an away day. Well, I think would be fun.
We convert away days to a World's Gam thing instead of a Cincy Postcast thing, and then we can cheap out and shoot an episode like we visited Cincinnati for a weekend.
We stayed at this sick Airbnb, and it's just Chief's house.
Rent the Airbnb next to my house. You all can stay in the Airbnb. I'll sleep in my own bed.
I like that. So there you go. Yeah, Ryan, I like the idea. Stay tuned, I guess. I like that. Another question here. Oh, no, this is 2 weeks ago, but Moomba asks, should I buy tickets to any Club World Cup games, even if I don't follow any of the teams playing in Cincy? Yes. Moomba, you got a couple of chances still, but yes, this does appear to have been a good thing. I will say, though, don't spend a lot of money. Like find a deal. Find somebody looking to get rid of a ticket late. Like
they have some Pitchview Club tickets that are going for about $100 flat with fees included for Saturday that are somewhat tempting when you realize that's also lunch and your beers included.
That's not bad.
Yeah. If you, 2 beers is $40.
Yeah, like 24, 25.
And then dinner out's going to be,
it is a noon kick, sadly. So
Operation,
it's more like your lunch.
Operation dinner out.
Yeah. I mean, you time it right. You get lunch and then you hit up that buffet hard right before the end. It's lunch and dinner, baby. It's 2 hours later. You'll be
get in early for brunch.
You got a stew going.
So yeah, Moomba, definitely do it. Okay. If you can swing it, and obviously don't spend too much. When these tickets first went on sale, they were very expensive. We're talking $120, $150 for some upper deck tickets. It's not worth that. I paid $25 to go to the game tonight. I was happy to have paid that.
I would just circle a game that you want to go to. I mean, there's 2 left, but pick one. Wait until pretty close to kickoff. Look at all of StubHub, SeatGeek, Ticketmaster.
Yes.
And just get a ticket you're comfortable paying for.
Yeah. Another pro tip, join some of the FCC ticket exchange groups on Facebook. This is a weird one, but you will occasionally find people doing a last second, hey, can't make it, who wants these tickets for free move. I know some friends that went an entire season in the Bailey without paying for tickets because inevitably somebody was giving away Bailey tickets for free in a Facebook group. So you might have some luck there. Scott Wilson asks, it's a lengthy question, but I think it's a good question. Scott Wilson asks, in 2019, the season ticket holder gift was mailed out before the season. It came in a really nice box. It was a full set of coasters and bourbon glasses. In recent years, the season ticket holder gift has come mid-season, and recent gifts include a bucket hat and a scarf. It feels a bit like an afterthought. Am I entitled? Or do you agree that a world-class club, which FCC strives to be, should give world-class gifts to the people who consistently support the club with their time and money? I don't really consider MLS Season Pass to be a part of my season ticket holder gift, but should I? Ooh, season ticket holder gift discourse. I live for this.
I'm the wrong person to ask about this because I do not care about the season ticket holder gift. To me, there's only 2 directions to go with the season ticket holder gift. Either the club should do something that is incredibly well done, unique, that has some thought behind it, that has some meaning behind it, that has something behind it, or they should just not do it. And your season ticket holder gift should be here in appreciation for being a season ticket holder gift. Here is $50 to the team store, or here is we're complimentary first beer of the match for every game, the first match of every month of every year, or something like that. I don't know. But like what I don't need from the team that I'm already spending a shitload of money on season tickets for, I don't need some cheapo Temu thing. That this is sitting like right here where we do the podcast. I got like an FC Cincinnati, like cheap Bluetooth speaker 1 year where it's like, does it work? Yeah. But like I have Bluetooth speakers that are actually good and I don't need this for anything. And so I just don't need more tchotchkes and crap. Like if you're going to give me the replica of the supporter shield, that's cool. That's on my desk at work. I like that a lot. That's thoughtful. There was some money spent behind doing that. They risked lawsuits to do that.
Yes.
But just, I don't care. So like they sent me the email for that scarf. That's the gift. I'm just not responding. I don't need another, season ticket holder scarf, and I certainly don't need anything that says season ticket holder on it because that's lame.
Yeah, back in 2017 they did a season ticket holder scarf, and it looks so stupid. You look so stupid if you bring it. I think there may be some like ironic joy with it now. You maybe can show some cred, but I do think it looks so dumb that you'd just be better off like take your choice of scarf from the team store. Might be a better season ticket holder gift. I do think they made a mistake of making it an expectation. Like, I don't know other places that do this. And the other problem is that we've gone to this fully electronic version of tickets that like the gift used to be like it came in the box because that is what the tickets literally arrived in, and that was really cool, and that was nice looking, and other places have done like really cool things like that. I don't know. What I think I would do if I were the club is I would try to find some way to give people a physical thing, ideally small, but that can indicate some level of like how many years they've been a season ticket holder. I think of maybe one of the best loyalty programs out there, which is the Royal Caribbean Crown and Anchor Society, where you go to X number of nights on a cruise and you accumulate points. If you went to X number of games or were a season ticket holder for X number of years, you'd accumulate a particular status, and at that status, you're entitled to more and more perks. So yes, if you're a diamond club member of FCC, that's where you get your first drink comped at every game. But if you're just an entry level fan, this is your first game, you get 5% off at the team store or something. You work your way up to perks, and then give me some sort of like season ticket holder or member card that has my status on it every year. I think that would be cool. That would be neat. And then you could use that to get your discount or your perk. But yeah, like mailing a Bluetooth speaker, that's what gutter cover companies do to get you to buy gutter covers.
Right. Like this was the free thing I got from my real estate. Grayson's got it on his desk too. Hold on. Up at the same time. Right here. We go. Wait, right there.
Wow. I will say, actually, this is very, very weird. One of my favorite pieces of FCC memorabilia is, in fact, an FCC Bluetooth speaker. But it is from a point in time where they were doing samples of these back in 2018. And on it is concept art for what would become TQL Stadium. So I have a FCC branded Bluetooth speaker with not TQL Stadium as a stadium on it. It's very cool.
You know what I'm interested in as a season ticket member gift is if you're a season ticket member, Chris Albright will come on your podcast.
Yeah. Or maybe like we combine Kevin's thing where it's like so many points you can buy a guest for your podcast, and the three of us can just combine our points and we can save up for Chris Albright.
Yeah, the two of us can.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So despite having, again, my claim to fame here is me and Andrew Prenovic have had actual tickets for the most unique number of seats in TQL Stadium and Nipper for that matter, but TQL Stadium specifically. But also, if you want a really entitled take, as a Orange and Blue Reserve member who has to pay $200 a year to wait in line, we don't get season ticket member gifts. So I don't even get the $8 scarf that they're mailing out, despite having paid more than Bailey season tickets. I don't know how much a Bailey season ticket is. Pretty close though.
It's more than that.
It was it 250, 350,
like 300 something now, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I
deserve more for being a 10-year season ticket holder. I'm gonna get entitled about this.
I was a year one season ticket holder.
Day one. How dare you?
At one point, I had season tickets, I think within the first month. So I was not one of the first day people, but certainly in the first month. And I gave up that priority status. And now I wait in line for my second year. RIP. All right. That's probably going to do it for a podcast because, oh boy, we gotta talk some Club World Cup on the other show. So, Chief, send us out.
Fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors, a even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon, but maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.